Namaste, sir.
Namaste. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Sarvalokanam Bhije Bhavarokinam. Midhaye Sarva Vidyanam Sri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Guru Me Deva Sarvagari Sarvadha. गजाननं भूतगणाधिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बूफलसारभक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम् शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शिवदातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं चैव ततो जयमुदीरयेत् Namaste. Last week we were looking at what happened after the display. So Dronacharya brought all the Pandavas, Kauravas, everyone together for a display session, and everyone excelled. Karna came there, Arjuna, Karna were about to fight, and then it became evening and they stopped. And then Drona asked for his fee. So Kauravas tried to capture Drupada, they could not, and then Pandavas went. Arjuna managed to defeat Drupada, captured him. Drona took his half of his share of his kingdom and gave half to Drupada, and they became friends. And then Drupada went back, right? So we also looked at how Pandavas became favorite among the people of Hastinapura, and everybody started talking highly about them. This started created jealousy, and Duryodhana became worried, and Dhritarashtra also became worried. So what they did, Duryodhana started thinking about, with help from Shakuni and Dushasana Karna, he started thinking how to get rid of Pandavas. So he started, first what he tries to do is win over his people. He started giving all the wealth to people, giving gifts and recommendations and all the presents and everything to people so that he gets a good name from the people. And then he goes to Dhritarashtra and he tells them that we should send Pandavas to Pashupati temple in Varanavrat. Right? He sends them, and then Dhritarashtra says, no, we should not, but he agrees. He agrees to that. So Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana plans to send them to there, and then as part of that, he plans to kill them. Okay. So Duryodhana, first Dhritarashtra disagrees, but then he agrees. What Dhritarashtra does is, he asks one of his own messenger to come to his assembly and tell that there is a festival in Varanavrat, you should come. Dhritarashtra says, I can't come, but I will send the eldest son Yudhishthira there. Yudhishthira understands there is something suspicious here, but he still agrees to go, right? Because he agrees, he wanted to obey whatever Dhritarashtra tells him. So he goes there. So he decides to go. What at that time, when Dhritarashtra, Yudhishthira agrees, what Duryodhana does is, he calls one of his counselor called Purochana. He calls Purochana and he tells Purochana that you have to build a house specially for these Pandavas, and that house should be quadrangular, okay, and it should have only one door, and it should be made of resin, hemp, all the inflammable material. Okay, if you put a little bit of fire, it should catch fire and burn. Entire house should burn within a second. Okay, it should burn like that. He says use the ghee, oil, fat, whatever you want to make a plaster for the wall, and then make sure that no one realizes it. It's all cleanly covered. From outside, it looks like a normal house, but inside it's fully of ghee, butter, fat, everything. All the wood, everything is properly dipped in ghee and oil so that it can catch the fire very quickly. Okay. And then he also tells Purochana that when Pandavas were sleeping in that house, set fire to it so that nobody can escape. And let's make a news that Pandavas were burnt accidentally in a house fire. Okay, so Duryodhana gives that instruction to Purochana, and he asks Purochana to go to Varanavrat immediately and build that house. Okay, so Purochana agrees and he immediately goes to Varanavrat and starts building such a house. Here, Yudhishthira prepares to leave Hastinapura to go to Varanavrat, and he prepares, with him, his brothers also join him, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva, and Kunti also join him. Okay, so they start. When they set out, Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Drona, Kripa, Vidura, and all the elders, okay, all of them join them to say goodbye to them. And when they all join at the door saying goodbye, see you, have a good trip, they all wish him. And then Yudhishthira and his brothers with Kunti set out. Along with them, Vidura also goes for some distance. Okay, and Vidura goes there, and Vidura talks in the language of Mlechas. Mlechas are kind of foreigners. Okay, and that language Yudhishthira used to understand. He talks them and he tells them some words, okay, which nobody will understand because of a language, and also it is mysterious. So what is this is, when one enemy is planning to strike, okay, as per politically what is correct, you should make all the effort to escape from it. Okay, he doesn't say who the enemy is and what they're trying to do. Okay, they're not striking, directly fighting. Okay, they are making some cunning plan. That's what he means. Okay, and he says that when there is no weapon, okay, which can hurt, so when somebody tries to hurt you by a weapon which is not made of steel or anything, okay, then you must try to find a way to avoid it. Okay, so the weapon is not something that is you can see, you can visibly see. Okay, and he says that when all the straw, grass, trees, everything is burning in a forest, those who live in the holes in the forest, they survive. Okay, he tells him that if anything is burning on the ground, if something is living in the hole, they survive from that fire. And he also says that, like, one should always have multiple escape routes, okay, multiple paths. You should not always think about only one door. You should always think like a fox. Okay, you should always have multiple escape routes from your den. And he also says that when you start going around from one place to another, you will attain, you will gain a lot of knowledge, and you should use the stars and sky, whatever is there on the sky, for your direction, whether you're going northwards or south or whatever it is, use that. And finally, he says that he advises Yudhishthira that you should control your senses. That means should not get angry and upset and with all these things, you should control yourself. Okay, those who control themselves can win the enemies. So these are the kind of tips Vidura gives, but he doesn't mention anything about that's happening, preparing in Varanavrat. Okay, Vidura realizes through his spies all the things Duryodhana was trying to do, but he could not tell him directly. So, but he tells him all these things. Yudhishthira says he understood everything, and they leave Hastinapura. Okay, so At that time, while they were on their own, 5 Pandavas and Kunti asks, what did Vidura say? Vidura says, Yudhishthira says that the house they will be staying in Varanavrat is a dangerous house, and Vidura asked us to be careful, okay, and find a escape route from that. So that's what Yudhishthira understands everything that Vidura says. Then Pandavas go to Varanavrat. When they go there, all the citizens of that village, that town, they were very happy. The Hastinapura princess from Hastinapura came there. Seeing them, all of them were happy. They were celebrating. And Pandavas in that Varanavrat, they worshipped all the Brahmanas. They went to village elders' home. They went to the Vaishyas' home. They went to even the Shudras' home. And they went, after all that, they went to see Purochana. Okay, Purochana has prepared for them very nice meals and clothes and everything. He organized everything. And like that, Pandavas stayed in a house for 10 days. And after that, Purochana comes and says, you don't have to stay in this house. I have built a very good mansion for you. Okay, especially for you. And I'm calling this the blessed home. And I want you to live in there. This is specifically built for your own convenience. And Pandavas knew that something is fishy, but they wanted to see what it is. They say it's okay, and they go there. And Bhima, Yudhishthira, everyone check the house, and they realize that this is, as Vidura told them, it is a house of inflammable house, and they realize that. And so at that time, they realize everything this is built by Dhritarashtra to kill them. Okay, but Bhima at that time says, why should we stay in this house? We can kill Purochana and we can go away to the old house we had. But then Yudhishthira says, we should never let the enemy know that we know their plans. Okay, we should always, if we know the enemy's plans, we should act as if we don't know. Okay, and Yudhishthira says we should think about an escape route from this house, because this house has only one entrance. If they put fire in there, we are going to struggle. So we should think about finding an escape route. Okay, so we should have a tunnel or something from this house that takes us outside. So while they were thinking like that, they were inspecting. They meet outside. When during the daytime, they used to go outside like a normal people. They did not show any signs that they were aware of all these plans. Okay, Pandavas used to go at night. They used to come and sleep in the house, but very vigilant. They were watching whatever that's happening in the house. They were very careful in watching. One day when they were out, they meet a miner. Okay, and that miner was sent by Vidura. And he introduces himself saying that whatever Vidura told Yudhishthira at the time of leaving Hastinapura, he tells him that Vidura told me these things. So believe me, I'm a man sent by Vidura. So he tells him that they are planning to burn this house on Chaturdashi, that is the 14th day of Krishna Paksha. Krishna Paksha is when the moon goes from full moon to new moon. Okay, so Krishna Paksha, the 14th day, they are planning to burn it. Okay, so he says that I'm going to build a tunnel to your house. Okay, and Yudhishthira agrees with him and requests him that Vidura always saves us. You are Vidura's messenger. You should now please save us. And the miner agrees, and he starts building a tunnel to that house. And at night time, he makes a hole inside the middle of that house. Okay, and that hole, Pandavas and the miner, they closely cover it, and so that Purochana and nobody sees it, they covers it, and no one will notice it. Okay, so Pandavas continue to live in that house as if nothing has happened, and they don't know anything about Purochana's or Duryodhana's plan. They went like normal. They acted normal. So Purochana did not get any suspicion from these people. Okay, he was thinking Pandavas are in a big trap and he was going to be successful. So Purochana was very happy. He was very happy seeing Pandavas living in that house. He did not see any suspicion from Pandavas on the material he used to build or the construction, having only one door, one entrance to the house, all these things. He did not see any signs of Pandavas worried about those things. And he after living there in that house for some time, Bhima, Yudhishthira tells Bhima that it is now time to set the fire to this house and leave this house. Okay, they did not wait for the Chaturdashi night. They say that it is time to set the fire. And that evening, a woman came to that house fully drunk. She came to that house with her sons, 5 sons, and Bhima at that time set the fire to the house. Okay, so all of them were sleeping there. That woman with Purochana and woman's 5 sons, all of them were sleeping there. Bhima set the fire, starting with where Purochana was sleeping, sets the fire, and then Pandavas escape through the tunnel. Okay, so from that heat, they escape. Once the flame got bigger and bigger, entire village got up and everybody started screaming and shouting, but trying to see what happened to the Pandavas. They could not bring the fire under control. Okay, and they thought Purochana intentionally built this house and killed Kunti and her sons. Everybody in Varanavrat started thinking that the Pandavas are killed. Pandavas moved through the tunnel. Bhima took all his brothers, mother, everybody. They started walking quickly outside in the darkness. Okay, because it is towards new moon day, nighttime, it is fully dark. So they were walking through the forest very quickly, and they were getting very tired. Okay, they were getting very tired to walk. But then at that time, Bhima says, I will lift you all. Okay, he takes all of them. Okay, he places his mother on his shoulder, Kunti on his shoulder, twins, Nakula Sahadeva on his sides, and then he holds them like that, Yudhishthira Arjuna in both arms. He holds them, all 5 of them like that, and then he goes through the forest. Okay, like he breaking the trees, wood, whatever is there, he was breaking. He was making his way. Even if there was no path, he was making his own path. Bhima was so strong, he was pushing everything through, and then he was making his own path. He moves. Here in the morning, everyone sees that there are 6 bodies in the house. Okay, the fire has come brought under control. They see 6 bodies. Purochana was also dead, and there is a woman's body, and then there was 5 other men's body. They thought it is Kunti and 5 other sons along with Purochana who died in that house. And some people sent a messenger to Dhritarashtra. Okay, saying Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, they sent a messenger saying that Pandavas died in the fire. Dhritarashtra became very sad. Okay, he did not like, he wanted to help his son Duryodhana, but he did not want Pandavas to be killed. Okay, he still loved them, but he wanted Duryodhana to be the king. Okay, there was desired for Duryodhana, but he was really hurt. Okay, he started crying. He asked for arrangement of all the Shraddha and everything to be performed for Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula Sahadeva and Kunti and everything. Entire town, entire Hastinapura city was in grief, but Vidura was crying in front of everybody, but he knew that Pandavas escaped. Okay, the Pandavas, when they escaped from that fire, they were walking as Bhima carried them. They went to so they went near the river, Ganga river, and there was a man sent by Vidura ready with the boat. He took them across the river, and everybody, Pandavas, continued to walk from there. Okay, so he moved like Mahabharata says, he moved like a wind during Jyeshtha and Ashadha Masa. So that's in the early monsoon season, how the wind is blowing. Bhima was moving so fast and so ferociously he was moving. And finally, they make their way far away from Dhritarashtra and his people. Okay, so that nobody could recognize, they moved quite far away. After quite long journey, okay, all of them, all the Pandavas, they were very thirsty. They were saying, we need water, we need water. Kunti and everyone says, we are tired. Even though they were sitting on Bhima's arms and shoulders, they were very tired from this journey. They said, we need some water. Bhima asked them to sit under a banyan tree, and then he goes to get some water. He goes to a nearby stream, fetches some water, and he comes back. And when he comes back, all of them were deep sleep. Okay, they were sleeping of the tiredness. He brought the water, but they were already sleeping. And Bhima, looking at them sleeping on the bare ground, he cries. Okay, he cries that his brother Yudhishthira, who is supposed to be the king, a future king, he is sleeping on the bare ground. Kunti, who is a princess, born as a princess, married to a Kuru family, and she was sleeping on the ground. Everybody is sleeping on the ground. Bhima sees them and feels very sad. He thought about waking them up and continue the journey, drink the water, but then he thought they are all sleeping, let them sleep for some time. And then he sits there watching so that nothing, no wild animals or nobody comes to harm them. So he sits there, keeps an eye on them. So while he was watching like that, in that forest, there was a Rakshasa demon called Hidimba. That Hidimba was very strong. He was hideous to look. He had long hair and big teeth. He was very scary. He was very hungry. He was a cannibal. He used to eat humans, and he was looking for a human flesh, and he started smelling some humans nearby. And he asks his sister, younger sister, Hidimba, to bring the people who are nearby. And that sister agrees with him, and she goes in the direction of where Pandavas were sleeping. And when she goes there, she sees a big man sitting while the 5 others were sleeping. He was sitting there like a big tree. Okay, and she sees him, and immediately she falls in love with him. Okay, and she decides not to kill those people. Instead, she wanted to marry Bhima. Okay, immediately she fell in love. And Hidimba asks Bhima who he is and why they are sleeping like this. And she informs that she is the sister of this Rakshasa, and she came here to kill them. But looking at him, she has fallen in love and she wants to marry him. Bhima says he can't wake up his sleeping brothers or leave them alone for her. Okay, so he's not going to come with her. So he says that even if her brother comes here, he has the strength to fight with him and do whatever you can do, whatever you want, you can go back. Bhima says that go back. I'm not interested. I can't do anything, any of this now. At that time, so Hidimba, the sister did not come. The brother at his house, he was waiting, and then he says sister did not come, so he comes out. Okay, he comes to the where Pandavas were sleeping, and he sees that his sister talking to Bhima, and he gets very angry. Okay, so when he becomes very angry, he tries to fight with Bhima, and Bhima, they both start fighting. Okay, they start fighting. Hidimba took a tree and they start fighting, hand, arms, one after another. They start fight like 2 elephants, fully grown elephants. They fight and fight and fight. And then finally, with that fight, while that was happening, Pandavas wake up. They wake up, they see a beautiful girl sitting next to them. Okay, Hidimba was a Rakshasi. Well, coming to Pandavas, she changed her look she dressed up, changed her form like a beautiful girl. Okay, Kunti and everyone sees that. They ask her, "Who are you?" And she explains that I am Hidimba, and my brother Hidimba is fighting with your son. He wanted to kill all of you, so that's why they are fighting. And Arjuna, looking at that, Arjuna says, "Hey brother, you are already very tired. You can't kill him. Leave him to me. I will fight with him." Bhima gets very angry with that. "You don't know what my strength is. I'm never tired. I'm going to kill him." And then Bhima immediately becomes very angry and goes and breaks that Rakshasa into pieces, and then he kills him. So Hidimba, the brother, got killed, and then once he's killed, the sister goes to Kunti and says that I want to marry Bhima, and I'm already in love with him. Okay, and Kunti says that yes, you can marry him, but at night time Bhima has to come back to us because he need to protect us. Night time he has to come back to us. And Hidimba says okay to that, and Bhima says, I will be with you till you get a son. Okay, once you get a son, I will come back to Pandavas, my brothers, and continue our journey. And they all agree, they marry, and so Bhima with Hidimba, they spend a lot of time in those forests, and while they spend, she becomes pregnant and she gives birth to a son. Hidimba gives birth to a son, and that son had a very large eyes, large mouth, and very arrow-like ears, and he was looking very terrible. Okay, he was already grown. When he was born itself, he was a very grown into a big boy. Okay, big man, and he had a head of a bald head, and because his head looked like a water pot, okay, he was called Gata. Okay, water pot is called Gata. That's why he was called Gatotkaja. Okay, that son was named Gatotkaja because he had a head like a water pot. Okay, so he was named like that, and then that strong man, that son of Bhima, says that Bhima at that time says, I'm about to leave now, and Gatotkaja says that whenever you think about me, I will come to you. Okay, and then he says that, and he takes his mother and goes northwards. So here Pandavas then continue their journey. While they were in the forest, going from one country to another, they went to Matsya, kingdom of Matsya, they went to Trigarta, they went to Panchala, they went to Kichakas. They went like that, many places, many forests, lakes, and everything. They went one after another. While they were going like that, they came across Vyasa. Vyasa comes to them and says that, I know everything that happened to you. I am aware of all the things that Duryodhana did. All these things happen for good. Don't worry about all these things. You continue your journey. Go to a village that is nearby called Ekachakra. Go there and stay there till I come and tell you that you can leave that village. Till that time, you stay in that house. And he also tells Kunti that don't think that your sons are in the forest and suffering. They will become kings of the entire earth. Yudhishthira will become the king of the entire earth, and they will do sacrifices like Rajasuya, Ashwamedha, and all the other sacrifices, and give large quantities of wealth to Brahmanas, and from that they will attain eternal heaven. Okay, Vyasa instructs that, and then he takes them to Ekachakra town, and there he introduces to a Brahmana family and asks Yudhishthira and everyone to wait for Vyasa's return in that village. And Pandavas spend their time in that village in a Brahmana's house dressed up as a Brahmana, learning Vedas and everything. So they spent time in that village, Ekachakra village. Any questions up to now? Okay, so there are a couple of things here in today's session. The first one is Bhima marrying before Bhima marrying before his brother Yudhishthira. Okay, normally in Shastras it is not allowed. Elder brother first has to marry, then only younger brothers can marry. Okay, so that is not allowed. The reason exception here is, again, Yudhishthira agreed to do this. Okay, normally what Shastra says is, if a younger brother goes and marries before elder brother, then he has to give that wife to the elder brother. Okay, so here Yudhishthira agrees, and Yudhishthira himself agrees to this Bhima's marriage, and that's why it's an exception. The second thing here, when Pandavas enter Ekachakra Nagare, I said they live as Brahmanas. Okay, Pandavas were born as Kshatriyas, right? Kshatriyas living as Brahmanas is not allowed. Okay, anybody who is not Brahmana should not say that they are Brahmanas and become act like Brahmanas. Okay, but here again, the exception is when in distress, when somebody is in distress, the exceptions apply. Okay, if somebody is in real trouble, dharma, whatever the normal rules, they don't apply. Here again, in case of Pandavas, they were in distress, they were in trouble, and that's why the normal rule that one should not assume the form of a Brahmana or say that I'm a Brahmana if you're not Brahmana, that's allowed here. Yes, Vaishnavi. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. I think some problem with the microphone. Okay, so we shall see what happens in. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was asking, even though if you're a king or something, you have to still follow the shastras, right?
Sorry, even if you're a king,
you have to follow the rules, right? Like what you made.
Yes. You have to follow the rules, and one should not imitate as a Brahmana. Okay, so if you're not born as a Brahmana and gone through rites as a Brahmana, one should not say that I'm a Brahmana and become like these days. For example, if you go to quite a few temples, you see a lot of non-Brahmanas dressed up as Brahmanas doing the worship and everything else. Okay, so that's not allowed. Okay, so even if they are king or whatever it is, they should not do. But again, as I said, dharma, the rules, everything, in distress, the rules can be relaxed. But then again, the definition of distress, everybody should not say that I'm in distress and that's why I'm not following. Okay. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, if not, I will just quickly share you something different. Okay, so this is, I got about 5 minutes. Okay, so I'll say our life, okay, Shastra say that we go through 5 stages in our life. Okay, 5 modes, 5 stages in our life. Okay, so those, sorry, 4 stages. Those 4 stages are Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. Okay, 4 modes. Brahmacharya, so is when one is studying, and then grahastha is one is married, vanaprastha is one goes to forest, live in forest, gives up everything and goes to forest, and sannyasa is even gives up forest. Okay, so it doesn't have anything. So that's the four modes of life. So sannyasa is the final stage, ultimate. When you're about to die, at that point you move into sannyasa mode. So here I just quoted a couple of quotes from one from Vyasa, one from Bhrigu Maharshi. So which one is superior? Okay, so whether brahmacharya is superior, grahastha or vanaprastha sannyasa. So Vyasa says that grahastha ashrama is superior to brahmacharya, vanaprastha is superior even to grahastha, and sannyasa is even superior to vanaprastha. Okay, but among all this, again, Shastra says that grahastha is the very difficult life to live. The mode of a married person, okay, the life of married person is very difficult, not because you're married, but the duties are very difficult. So duties of a married person are very difficult. And similarly, in terms of the rules, what one need to do and conduct and everything, again, ahimsa, that is abstaining from injury, telling truth, not getting angry, all these things are applicable to all the four modes of life. And then individually, each of them have their own things that one need to do. So the first one is, let's say, brahmacharya. Here it is a student life. The student lives in Guru's house, serves the Guru, does everything that Guru tells them. He wakes up before Guru wakes up, does everything, goes to bed after the Guru goes to bed, and he does everything that Guru says. Okay, and he obeys Guru and then learns everything. And like that, he serves his Guru, and then ultimately, after learning everything from that Guru, he leaves that ashrama. So that is brahmacharya. Okay. So, so again, then the second stage is grahastha. Grahastha is married life. After brahmacharya, one should get married, and the objective here is again to have children and give ancestors. Having children, as I said many times, having children is important because that continues the lineage and ancestors get their shraddha, okay, pindas. So pitrus will become, so that's the one removes the pitru runa, the debt of the ancestors. So grahastha mode is again very difficult because one should look after his family, but also look after the entire, all the people coming to guests coming to house, the village. He has a lot of responsibilities. Okay. He again should not accumulate a lot of wealth, but also should have enough wealth to support his family. So it is, as I said earlier, is very difficult mode of life because of that reasons. Because normally what happens is grahastha mode, we start accumulating a lot of wealth, we don't give it away, and that's not right. That's where the problem is. And grahastha mode, that's why it says that you earn but also distribute. So we'll look at the other two probably next week, and if any questions on this also, we will continue next week. Okay. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Bye, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Thank